All right. What is up, everybody? This is Stevie Breach coming to you here today. I'm coming to you on the Stevie Breach channel. Just yesterday, me and my buddy Jeremy, we made a good video up on his channel, the Rock and Knowles channel. We went live for about an hour covering this big weekend's extravaganza of wrestling. We talked all about the WWE's Great American Bash. We talked about Saturday night's main event. We talked about All Out. I gave a lot of thoughts about WWE's evolution. I thought I'd check back in on my channel today, just go over Saturday night's main event. I honestly feel like this show, even though it's not extravaganza, it's not a WrestleMania like event here on NBC. It's still on NBC, which is a big deal because that is here in Sacramento, California. It's KCRA Channel 3. It's like the main place I go when like the stuff's going down and you want to know what's going down in the world. It's kind of like where I go, even though I don't really trust the news all that much. But I think NBC to me, I'm not sure 100%, but when I was growing up, it was like must-see television with Seinfeld, Friends. Basically, all of the best shows were on NBC. And for WWE to work its way back into pop culture to the point where we're running what's on NBC again. Honestly, I think that's a pretty damn cool thing. But you really look at how WWE is trying to counter program against AEW with All In, with them basically trying to run their own show. It's honestly it's kind of crazy. On one point, they worked their way into being on NBC, but you can tell by looking at this card, they're kind of punting. Like they're trying their best to make sure that WWE fans don't watch AEW. But there might be CM Punk, but he's not booked on this card. There's no Roman Reigns. There's no Cody Rhodes. The biggest stars from WWE are not featured on this show. I apologize to Drew McIntyre. I apologize to Randy Orton. But they're kind of the biggest names, the biggest household names booked on this show. Seth Rollins has a match, but it's against LA Knight. And you could even say that LA Knight is not even the biggest competitor in Seth Rollins' world right now. You're thinking if with Seth Rollins holding the Money in the Bank, he can't have a main event championship every night. But I mean, Seth Rollins' main feud in WWE is CM Punk. And if it's not CM Punk, it's Roman Reigns, because he keeps bringing him up on each and every episode of Monday Night Raw when he's in the ring delivering a promo, talking about how much better he is, or bringing up how, they used to be together in the Shield. It just really doesn't make a whole lot of sense. They almost like put this whole show together just to give Goldberg his last match in WWE, almost to kind of get him to stop talking about WWE. Goldberg, he did a lot of interviews leading up to this, and a lot of them really weren't positive about the state of WWE. I can remember one whether if he preferred working under Vince McMahon or if he preferred working under Triple H. Goldberg just flat out came out and said, like, well, the old man promised me one last match, and the guy running the place now never gave it to me. And for that to be like not a planned response to try and like draw out that like maybe he knew that the match was coming, but he needed to like pull on the storyline that he was just going to show up on Gunther one day. It didn't make a whole lot of a sense, especially with how WWE as a whole, minus the Hall of Fame, doesn't really mention Vince McMahon at all. And besides for that, Goldberg, At one point, it sounded like he was going to do his last match on the Indies, maybe against Ryback. It seemed that they were trying to put together something for Ryback and Goldberg to have a match in AEW. And when WWE gave Goldberg his last contract, it was almost because they didn't want him to go to AEW. I don't know how much Goldberg would have helped being under contract with them. You would have thought that even 4 years ago, Goldberg's probably only wrestling 4 matches a year. But then again, maybe they would have used him in they pretty much the same way that they used Sting, and maybe that would have been huge. But I think it's awesome that Goldberg is getting this last match in WWE. I do believe that I wish that Goldberg's last match would have been in WWE like 2 years ago. He had the big match against Roman Reigns. He came up short. He showed up on Raw. He said that he needed to go back and he needed to train, retool, get back to, up to 100%, and that he thought he could beat Roman and give it one more shot. If that match was 2 months, 3 months, 4 months down the road, that would have made a whole lot more of a sense. But I remember just being like a year later and being like, is Goldberg ever coming back? Like that's pretty weird that they let him go out there and pretty much say that he wasn't retiring and he wanted to give it one more go round. And they're just not going to give him the match. Goldberg versus Gunther is probably the best match that they could give him for one last run. Some people are complaining that Gunther is the world heavyweight champion, and maybe they shouldn't have put the championship on Gunther at the last Gunther versus Jey Uso match. And some people even draw the story of Triple H is the reason why they're doing that, because he wanted this match to be a world heavyweight championship match because they needed as much focus on how big of a Saturday night's main event this is because it was going up against AEW. I don't think the war between AEW and WWE is that strong to the point that people are really putting championships on people and doing championship changes and changes bookings just to make people not watch AEW's All In. That really doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. I look at Goldberg's shirt and it says Goldberg's last ride. To me, Goldberg's last ride is not one last match. Do I think he's winning this? No. No way. But it would make a whole hell of a lot of sense if Goldberg was to have one more match, whether that was at like SummerSlam, and then they got to close the door that way a month later down the road. I really don't I really don't know how they do it there, but the show I believe runs for an hour and a half. They only have 3 matches planned as of right now. Goldberg versus Gunther, LA Knight versus Seth Rollins. We got Drew McIntyre going against Randy Orton. I was watching Brandon Hodges' video the other day, and he made a pretty good point in his prediction video that he thought that maybe Dom versus AJ could get added day of. Basically, where the storyline on Monday Night Raw is that Dom keeps showing Adam Pearce a doctor's note saying that he has an injury and that he is actually not able to wrestle. The first night we saw AJ put on the old man Benjamin Franklin glasses. I have glasses. I'll tell you the truth. I have no clue where they are. I have no clue when the last time I saw them or wore them. I lost them flat out. I thought I lost the last pair, and I got a new pair once my 1 year with my insurance came up, and I found the other pair. So I think I have to start wearing the old pair again. But then basically Dom showed up last week. He gave Dom a get well soon cake. And then he appeared, in the back of the Judgment Day Clubhouse set where he was looking at him and he gave him the good old, I see you, a lot like Meet the Parents with Robert De Niro and Ben Stiller back in the day. And maybe AJ maybe AJ could steal the doctor's note. So when Adam Pearce presses Dom, like, hey, we're going to have this match tonight. And Dom tries to get out of it, but doesn't have the doctor's note. Maybe that's how we lead to the one-on-one of Dom versus AJ. Maybe Dom just accidentally gets cleared. He's trying to tell him that his heart hurts ever since Liv left, and he's not able to do it. The doc's like, hey, this chick left a month ago. You got to get over this, man. Yeah, especially with Roxanne in that locker room giving you the eyes the way that she is. So maybe that could set up Dom versus AJ. I think that's a damn good idea for the Intercontinental Championship. I do like the Judgment Day having all of the gold in WWE. They have the men's Raw Tag Team Championships. They have the Raw tag championships. I do think that they are going to lose them at Evolution. I think the team of Charlotte and Alexa Bliss is just too strong. I think the storyline is for them to retain the gold, basically keep it for a while, and then probably drop it and feud somewhere later down the road. The only other match that I think is a long shot, and some people think that I take a lot of long shots, or I believe in conspiracy theories or things like that along the way. Monday Night Raw, we had Sami Zayn coming down to the ring. He had already been attacked, hit with a lead pipe by Karrion Kross the week before. And now here he is attacked yet once again. But Sami crawls his way to the ring, gets into it. He has Adam Pearce as well as other agents trying to beg him not to have this match. And he basically says that he's in the ring. He's ready to go. He's a man. He wants to fight his fight. He goes out there and he gets destroyed by Braun Breaker. And later on in the night, we have Braun, we have Paul Heyman, we have Seth Rollins sitting in the locker room, and Paul Heyman comes in and tells him that Sami Zayn is out indefinitely. They have gotten rid of the Sami Zayn problem that they have been trying to get rid of since the night after WrestleMania 41. So now Braun Breaker pretty much sounds like he has planned all of his attacks on the Karrion Kross, wondering, if people will think that he has Karrion, fighting his fights and he doesn't need him, so he's going to go after him. But what would happen if, Sami Zayn shows up to Saturday night's main event and doesn't want to be out indefinitely? He's all taped up. He's got his ribs all taped up like Diamond Dallas Page in WCW, and he's begging for a match to the point where he just attacks Karrion Kross himself, and we have like a backstage brawl of him and Karrion Kross just going at it, and Karrion Kross, yelling at Sami Zayn that he wants to hear him say it. He wants to hear the truth, that he knows it. I believe that Sami Zayn is going to come out as being a heel. He's not going to be a real bad guy. I think that he's more than likely going to make a mistake, and it's going to be a bad decision that he makes for himself that hurts somebody else. I don't know if they're going to stretch this out all the way to War Games in San Diego, where he makes some sort of thing that hurts the good guys, and he has like Cody, Jey Uso, and the rest of the crew all looking at him like, hey, what the hell? I thought you were with me. But it would have been fun if Sammy won the Money in the Bank, and then maybe he just had an opportunity where he wanted to be champion, and then he cashed in against Jey Uso, and everybody took that as him being a bad guy. And he's like, I'm not a bad guy. I just want to be a champion. I thought that would have been a really good storyline, but the one that they're cooking up has to be better than that one. That's going to be longer. I believe in WWE's long-term booking, that I think that it's going to be good. But them saying Sammy is out indefinitely means that he's probably going to be out for a while. They got a plan for something, but I think it would be cool if he showed up at Saturday night's main events and just started attacking people and just going ham in the back. It honestly would be fun. Just going over the matches, we'll start with Drew McIntyre going up against Randy Orton. This is a hard one to pick, guys. I mean, no doubt in my mind, both of these guys, they honestly want to win. Randy Orton's last big match would be like at Backlash when he went up against John Cena for the championship, and then R-Truth cost him his chance at the gold. You could say that he was in the driver's seat when Truth came down there and broke that matchup. Drew McIntyre, I'm not 100% sure about this, but I'm pretty sure he lost it at WrestleMania to Damian Priest. They did the rematch in the steel cage on the last Saturday night's main event. Damian Priest got the win in that match. And Drew took a little bit of time off, just about a month, maybe at least a couple of weeks. And here he is coming back. Um, I don't really know where these guys are going in the future. WWE doesn't really do the 3 months on, 3 months off booking that they used to do, where you knew every time there was a match on a pay-per-view that it wasn't going to be blown off that month. Maybe the first match is the one you remember and you wanted to see it, but you knew they were always going to run that back for the second month and they were always going to run it back for the third month. These days, guys have a match on a pay-per-view and they just move on to the next. My first thought was maybe this match doesn't matter in the long run and we're so close to August 2nd and August 3rd's SummerSlam that's probably more likely these guys are going to fight again. And it's not really sure where these guys are jostling to get to. It's not like they put on a stipulation where it's a number one contenders match. We're so late into John Cena's run as champion. I'm not sure if Randy's going to get another shot. So it's not, easy to say, hey, Randy's going to win this match because he needs a win to be credible to get another shot at John Cena down the road. I mean, Cena's going to be at SummerSlam fighting Cody. Cena's going to be at the Clash in Paris. No word on what he's going to be doing there. That's going to be either August or September. I don't know what's in October, but hell, Survivor Series November. And then I'm not sure the date on this December pay-per-view they want to throw, which I've heard is going to be called Ruthless Aggression in Boston. And that's the end of the road. I mean, unless they're building up some way for Cena to fight like 5 or 6 guys all at once in like some big scramble match, I'm really not sure. But then for Cena to be in War Games doesn't make a lot of sense because you've already wasted the Money in the Bank pay-per-view by putting him in a tag match with Logan Paul. Cody comes back at the last Saturday night's main event and he gets in there. And then all of a sudden you're wasting one of his days. It's a pay-per-view. Put Cena in a singles match and get him out there. You put him in War Games, you can't change the title. Maybe they can build in some sort of a stipulation, but then again, if you're John Cena, what friends do you have out there? I mean, the one friend you had, you turned your back on in R-Truth, and almost anybody else out there, it just doesn't make a lot of sense. I mean, the last War Games was built up by Punk helping the Bloodline. I don't know. I really don't get it. And then we had the other one where Drew ended up helping because he wanted to fight against the Bloodline, and he didn't want to fight with the guys he was fighting with. And of course, then Punk showed up. So I don't know. If I'm forced to make a pick, I think Drew needs to win more than anybody else. Just because the fact that he's a heel, and it would make sense that he's going after somebody else. But then again, whatever happened at the end of the Damian Priest versus Drew McIntyre cage match at the Saturday night's main event, I thought it kind of looked like Priest's character changed. And I can't really think of anything Damian Priest has done since that cage match. I thought that he would take on a little bit of a heel persona, but instead he broke up a fight on SmackDown between Aleister Black and R-Truth. And then he kind of told R-Truth to hang out with him, and then I don't think we ever saw them together again. So I'll take Drew in that match and hope it comes out for the best, honestly, in that one. Um, LA Knight versus Seth Rollins, which is a weird match. Raw versus SmackDown. Everybody loves the bragging rights or Survivor Series style booking where they take guys off two different shows and they put them against each other. Of course, LA Knight was kind of upset because when he was in his qualification match for the Money in the Bank, um, or was that for the King of the Ring? I think it was for the King of the Ring qualifiers. He was out there, and then basically Seth Rollins' crew, Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed, made sure that he didn't win, coming into their match. So then when Braun Breaker was in his qualifier, LA Knight came down to make sure that he returned the favor by making sure that they didn't get into there. In the long run, this match kind of really doesn't make a lot of sense. Um, in a one-on-one situation, especially with having Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed on the outside, um, I think that Seth Rollins is the easy advantage. But then you always got to wonder, why are they having this match? They're not just going to sacrifice LA Knight, putting him out there against Rollins. Somebody has to be the first person to score a pinfall against this team. But with that much fighting against you, it's hard to get you there. But I think this match almost has CM Punk written all over it. I don't think that WWE booked Punk into a match on this card because they were trying to make it. Shoot, what's the right word to say it? They wanted to book a soft show. They wanted to have a WWE show, but when they get beat in the numbers, they don't want people pointing at, like, Cody, Cena, Roman Reigns, CM Punk couldn't pull numbers against the All In show in Texas that was on pay-per-view. I know you can't put up a number for number because one show you got to pay $55 for, another show you just got to turn on your TV and just basically say, like, hey, I'm ready to go. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if Punk gets involved in this match. Maybe even setting something up where Punk and LA Knight have to team together on an episode of Raw or an episode of SmackDown. Maybe even a 2-on-3 where it's all of them. I just think this match isn't going to have a straight up winner. I think it's going to be setting up something else down the road. And then the story is going to have to be LA Knight and CM Punk. Can they work together? Because when LA Knight was granted this match, CM Punk came running up to LA Knight in the back and then basically said, like, hey, that guy is mine. You can't be cutting in the line. And, LA Knight said something to the point of, like, 6 nights a week, you could be kicking Seth Rollins' ass, but one night a week and Saturday night's main event, I'm at the front of that line and you're going to have to get behind me. Yeah, I'm hoping for a good match, but I'm hoping for a non-finish, honestly, in the long run, where Seth comes out the victor. And then we have the main event, Goldberg versus Gunther. Goldberg is a guy that I saw his entire run in wrestling. He's probably one of the legends that I can point at that said, like, I saw his highs, I saw his highest of highs, and I saw him all the way through his career. Basically, that's one way to point at me and be like, hey, I'm old. But I can think when, I remember watching Nitro when the Hugh Morris match happened and kind of being shocked, like, wow, that kind of stuff doesn't happen. When the match first started, I kind of thought it was like an enhancement match for Hugh Morris where he was just going to beat somebody. And I'm pretty sure in Goldberg's first match, or at least in his first few matches, he was trying to show how much energy he had and how much agility and how much of, like, an athlete he was. I remember him just kind of doing a flip in the ring, not like, not doing a moonsault or anything like that, like Brock Lesnar used to do early on in his career, but he was just, like, so hyped up that I think he just, like, did a backflip in the ring or a front flip or something like that, landing on his feet. It could be crazy. I haven't seen that match honestly in a long, long time. But I knew it was special when Goldberg got the win and the announcers didn't even know what to call him. I mean, I'm not pointing at the Goldberg versus Scott Steiner versus Kevin Nash match later in WCW, which is like the downfall of WCW, when the announcers were saying that Goldberg broke the script and yeah, the match that you were seeing was not what they planned out it to be, and these guys were like basically really fighting for their lives out there. Goldberg got the win, and the announcers didn't even know what his name was. And then as like Mean Gene Okerlund tried to like grab him for an interview as he was walking towards the back, Goldberg just kind of brushed him off. I can't remember if he said the "Who's next" line like as his own, honestly, because I don't think he said it into the microphone. I think he thought of it like as he passed Gene, as he was making his way like through the Nitro set tunnel, whatever you want to call it. But you know, I was there when he beat Hogan for the World Heavyweight Championship. I can remember when he won the United States title from Raven. That was like the night I was on Nitro, the night after Raven beat DDP for the belt on can't remember what pay-per-view it was. Fall Brawl, I think maybe, but a really freaking good match. And you think that like Raven's got to go out the next night, do the job, and hand the belt over as a transitional champion. He probably honestly wasn't that happy about it. And then I'll tell you the truth, like Goldberg won the title. He fought against Mr. Perfect, well, Kurt Hennig at the next pay-per-view because they already had Hogan and Rodman, DDP, and Bischoff in a tag match. And the way that match basically got put together was it was supposed to be a dark match where I don't think the title was going to change hands, but they were just going to, pack the house for everybody to see Goldberg go for the championship for the first time once the show ended. I don't think they had time to put Goldberg in a big feud because they just didn't have time before the pay-per-view. So they just sent Kurt Hennig out there. But Hennig's first run, Goldberg's first run with the title. He just beat guys. But he was beating guys like Kenny Chaos. Like his biggest matches would be on like pay-per-view, and he would beat guys like DDP here and there. But people always throw their arms up that like Kevin Nash booked himself to win the championship at Starrcade. Dude, when Kevin Nash wins that title, the people go bananas at Starrcade. I think that show was in Washington, D.C. I would understand if maybe it was in Detroit in Kevin's hometown. Kevin Nash was over. I know that like Kevin Nash is one of my favorite wrestlers of all time. That dude just dripped cool. Whatever that guy was doing worked. I remember watching Nitro, seeing the NWO out there and like thinking if maybe I can pull off the Tupac bandana. I can admit that honestly, I went to the mall and I bought a Detroit Red Wings hockey jersey because he was wearing one on Nitro. It became a lot easier when WCW came out with a NWO hockey jersey. But I at that point in my life, I never even watched hockey. I just tried to be like that guy. But when Goldberg did the whole thing where he was trying to chase down the NWO, and then he bashed the car with his fist, and then he split some tendons and he had to go away for a year because he needed surgery. That honestly kind of sucked because not having Goldberg on the show really drained WCW. I don't want to say that's the reason why they died, but that was one of the main reasons because I think they were heating up Goldberg to the point where he was going to have to go through the NWO one by one until he got to the championship. The guy was awesome. He was never one of my favorite wrestlers, but besides for the Goldberg versus Hogan match, anytime that I went to a show that he was on it, It was so fun to just chant Goldberg, Goldberg, Goldberg with everybody. There's very few wrestlers that get a response like that from any show. You got to think of like everybody still does the what Stone Cold Steve Austin. They do the Ric Flair woo. Everybody wants to be the Rock. Doing the people's eyebrow and stuff like that. But when it comes down to it, you can say that Goldberg wasn't a wrestler, a great wrestler, but that dude was over in one of the most over times there ever was in professional wrestling. Even if he worked for WCW, I mean, everybody, everybody knew who he was. Nobody talks about it. He made that movie with John Claude Van Damme. I think he was called a Universal Soldier or something like that. Can't tell you that I saw it, but that's how big he was. That fast, Hollywood was like, hey, come make this movie. I know you've never been an actor, but you can do this. We'll make some money. You'll make some money together. Um, when it comes to the match against Gunther, what I'm really hoping for is just a 4 to 5 minute ordeal. I mean, that's one of the main reasons why I was pointing, saying that they needed to have like two more matches on this show. Um, Maybe Dom versus AJ, maybe Sammy versus Karrion, something like that, where they beat each other up in the back. I know with Evolution, they're probably not going to put any women's matches on the card unless they come up with a gimmick like on SmackDown, where basically two women are fighting for a chance to be on the card. Like the winner of this match fights against this other person. That they could do that because not every women's championship, of course, is on the line in their own pay-per-view at Evolution. That doesn't make sense to me. The second they drew up those two mid-card women's titles, I was like, they barely got time for the women's belts that they have now. I mean, they're not really focusing on the women's tag belts or anything like that. So I don't get it. But with Gunther, I think about him in the back. Basically, where he came to the back and talked to Jey Uso a week before their match on Raw and just said, "Hey, I'm not here to fight. I'm just here to, talk." And he talked about how much of an entertaining champion he was. He was a fighting champion. He thought that it was, good that Jey stood up for his friends and, put them in front of him. But then he would point out like how dumb he was because he keeps getting beat up week after week after week when he knows he has a fight against Gunther, one of the biggest matches that he's ever had in WWE. Maybe the one thing I'm thinking of is that Gunther beats Goldberg, but the match is a beast where these guys are beating each other up to the point where Gunther honestly respects Goldberg. Maybe he even points at him and says, like, you were one of my favorites when I was a kid. I couldn't admit that when you were here because I don't want you to know that you were on my level. But you're one of the reasons why I'm here. If they do something like that, and then of course like raise Goldberg's hand in appreciation, and then bail out and leave the ring for Goldberg to end the show, maybe with his son in the ring, maybe with his wife, and say goodbye. And then Monday on Raw, maybe we got a discussion of like, is Gunther a good guy? Did Gunther turn? Is he having a change of character? Is he no longer going to be the big bully? Is he softening to the point where he does that? The point with Goldberg, the point with Gunther that I fear that if they were to turn him face, I'm scared that he's going to turn into the Big Show. I'm scared that he's going to be losing matches on Raw. I'm scared that they're, well, we have to beat this guy, but we don't know how to beat him. So we're basically just going to have him trip over his own feet or something like that, to the point where he's not, just taken serious to the point of what he should be. But I mean, that's it. I mean, I don't think Goldberg's winning the championship. I think Gunther is going to win the match. There's a little part of me that maybe thinks maybe they do some sort of finish to set up a rematch at SummerSlam. but they've said last match, last match, last match so many times on WWE, Monday Night Raw and stuff that I don't think that they're going to change their mind. I would pick Seth Rollins to beat LA Knight if we were putting money down on the table. I'm going to take Drew McIntyre to beat Randy Orton. Other than that, here's to wrestling fans. I do know that this is going to be one hell of a weekend with All In, Evolution, Great American Bash. If you're into that, I don't know why. I don't feel great about All In, and I'm kind of like questioning my wrestling fandom because of the fact that like this is a really really big show for them, and I should be like giving them their flowers, but it's not the money. It's just me and AEW pay-per-views just don't really get along because they're so damn long. If you go to the if you go to the store and you buy a drink, you don't really complain when you pay for the drink and it's bigger than you thought it was going to be. AEW, I expect to run a pay-per-view for like 5 hours. I think that 5 hours will be the pay-per-view time. 7 hours if you include the pre-show. I'm guessing 8 hours if you include the YouTube post-show where they do the interview in the back with Tony Khan and the wrestlers. That's a long damn time to be watching wrestling. It's too long for WWE. It's too long for NXT. It's too long for TNA. New Japan. I'm not trying to take shots at basically saying they shouldn't be doing this because WWE shouldn't be doing it either. Where you feel like you worked a shift at work after you've come home after you've been at work for the day. So here's the Saturday. I honestly hope that it's going to be a really, really good show. I tip my hat. I'm hoping that, All In does big numbers. I hope that they bring in as much on pay-per-view as they do as their house as that they've been building there in Texas. Here's to the women of WWE fighting at Evolution. I've talked about that a great deal. That is not a show that I even wrote on my calendar to watch. It's just a show that is not for me. Not all wrestling is for everybody. I don't know. I just don't get it. I think that there'll be like two good matches on the show that I'll miss that maybe I wish I saw, or maybe they're good enough that I go back and watch them. But I'm interested to see who wins the Battle Royal. I'm interested in Rhea Ripley beating Io Sky. And even like the Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss tag match, I'm not crazy to find out that they won the tag titles, but that's where I think they're going to go. So thank you, everybody. This was a little bit of a short one. The first one went an hour and a half. Second one went 45 minutes. It looks like this one's got to go about 40. But I appreciate everybody who stopped by. I wish I could find like a set time to where they're going to be, because most of the time I just get the feeling of like when I'm going to do them as I'm driving around. I was really honestly thinking of going to the A's versus Braves game, and it is freaking hot out there. And the Braves got their ass kicked 11-1 last night. Lawrence Butler hit an inside the park home run, I believe, on the first pitch of the game. And then my friend Victor, who you guys would know from my videos, it's been a while. But we went to some house shows. We would go to Stockton together. He helped me a lot back in the day. He was texting me. He was asking me if I was going to go to the game. And I was really looking to going into today's game. And I think I found out how hot it was when I got outside. It was, I think, 91 when I got off of work. Tomorrow's going to be even hotter, but my mom comes back into town and we're going to have a full house. And then there's a difference between going to a game with one person and then going to a game with, I guess that would be 9 of us. That's a lot of money. But hey, it is what it is. Hopefully I'll turn the game on TV. Last night's game was ugly. It was ugly. Braves need I think the Braves need, honestly, another bat at the least. We need our younger pitching to step up. Us starting the year injured. Basically, we started the year, with Acuna, as well as Strider on the injured list, to the point where we were already 1 foot in the bucket on opening day. We're always going to look better than the Marlins. We just got to try our best to be better than the Mets, but the Phillies are just good, man. The Phillies are really good. We're playing for second place. I don't know if we're gonna pull it out. I love Austin Riley, but sometimes I'm wondering about him. Azunia had one hell. Why are we doing Braves talk? But Azunia had one hell of a year. Um, he earned my respect. The first 2 years he was in Atlanta, he made a lot of stupid mistakes with the cops going to his house. That's all that needs to be said. And then him getting arrested, and then when he got arrested for DUI, trying to get out of it by saying that he played for the Braves. And I don't think the cop cared, man. If you're drunk on the road, you're drunk on the road. It doesn't matter if you're freaking Derek Jeter, man. But I don't know. I don't know how to fix the Braves. But we have a lot of young pitching that we're hoping is going to be really, really good. We need them to be good. I understand why we made some moves that we made last year. I mean, even though we won the World Series in 21, we can't be an old team that keeps everybody. And guys get older. I thought it was awesome that Soler got to come back last year, even though those games really didn't mean anything. But I don't know. We just got to get hot. We got to stay hot. And it's probably going to take us making a move in order to do it. So, that's it. That's why I'm not going to the Braves game tonight, because it's freaking hot. I kind of wish that I was, but yeah. But peace out, everybody. Enjoy your weekend of wrestling. If you guys need anything, let me know on Twitter or send me a message here on YouTube, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Thank y'all. Peace out. Oh, I thought I ended the stream.